everybody. I hope everyone is doing well this holiday season. Thank you for joining me for this pre recorded video. Please let me know that you watched it. Just tap and replay. Also, why don't we do something different tonight? Why don't you share a tradition that your family has, during the holiday season? So, for example, my husband and I, we always on Christmas Eve, we order appetizers and we watch a movie. So every year we have appetizers on New Year's Eve and watch a movie. But I would love to hear what some of you do. I'm on here tonight real quick because some of you have asked me, how do I help someone who's grieving? How do I support my friend? How do I support my spouse? How do I support my family member right during this holiday season? So I said, since a few people have asked me that question, I felt like it would be a good conversation for us to have tonight. So, welcome. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Lena Lassiter. I am the president of Forever Healed. We are a nonprofit. And what we do is we help those who are, dealing with the loss of any kind. Their heart is broken due to a loss of any kind. We want them to restore. We help them to reclaim, and we walk through their healing journey with them so that they may recover. We offer one-on-one and group recovery classes, and we present grief and empathy training in corporate. We also facilitate grief training in churches. And more importantly, we continue to work with our veteran and their family population, which again has been a blessing to us. So, real quick tonight, just some simple practical tips on how to help someone who is going through grief and loss during the holiday season. So, the first thing we want to do is acknowledge the loss. Just acknowledge the loss, number one. So, you can say things like, I know this season may be hard for you, or you can say, how are you coping with your grief, during the holiday season? Phrases like this goes a very long way. So, number one, acknowledge the loss. Secondly, use their loved one names or pet's name, right? So say their names. Why? Because it shows that you remember them, that you're honoring their memory, that you too, love them, or that you recognize that they were valuable, to the individual who's grieving. So make sure that you say the names because, again, it shows remembrance and not discomfort. Because sometimes we think that it's going to make them cry or make them feel bad if we say the name, but it doesn't, right? It takes that discomfort away, and it shows that you are remembering. All right. Third thing that we're going to do is we are going to avoid those unhelpful and sometimes hurtful comments that you guys have heard me talk about, right? So we're not going to say things like, I know how you feel, because we don't. Remember, every loss is unique and individual, so we don't know how others feel. We're not going to say things like they're in a better place. And we're not going to say things like everything happens for a reason. So sometimes, things that we say may be true, but at the time, for a griever, they may be unhelpful, and again, sometimes hurtful, sometimes harmful. So let's be careful with the words that we use. And then I want you to offer presence, not pressure. Offer presence, not pressure. Let them know that it's okay to decline invitations. Let them know that if they come to an event, that it's okay for them to change their mind. And if you are a griever, I want you to make sure that you listen to this very closely. Be gentle with yourself. Again, give yourself permission to change your mind. So you could have agreed to go to an event. Maybe you're driving here on your way and you just feel overwhelmed and you don't want to go. It's okay to turn around and try again the next day. So again, be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to say no, to change your mind. And for those of us who have invited someone, be flexible. Be flexible, right? Because grief doesn't follow a holiday schedule. So I can't say it enough. Gentleness matters. So be flexible. So, for example, I had a really good friend who wanted to come spend the night with me after we had a loss a few weeks ago of our pet for 13 and a half years. And she and her daughter, who's my goddaughter, wanted to come spend the night with me because my husband was going to be out of town. And it would be the first day that I had been home, totally alone. Initially, I thought it was a great idea. But then I realized that I just needed time alone. I just needed time to process my grief. I needed time to scream, yell, cry, do all the things that I needed to do for my healing journey. So I had to reach out the next day and say, you know what? Thank you for your support. It was a great idea, but I'm just not ready for that now. And they were flexible. She was flexible. She said, okay, maybe next time. So be flexible, okay? Because grief does not follow a holiday schedule. So gentleness matters. And then I want you to check in more than once because sometimes you may check in on someone and they may have every good intention to call you back, but they may have forgotten. So check in more than once because support after the holidays is just as important. So a lot of times we're always talking about what we're going to do during the holidays, but people grieve every day. They grieve every second. Some of them grieve, every moment. And it could be beyond the holidays. So make sure that we are reaching out, after the holidays as well. Run an errand for people. I say that all the time. If you know that they have errands that they typically run, you can run errands for them. You can send them a card. You can donate in the honor of their loved one. So things like that, it may seem very simple, but they can be deeply meaningful during the holidays. And for those of you who are grieving, I always say this: find a way to incorporate the memory of your loved one during the holiday. So whether it's watching their favorite movie, cooking their favorite meal, listening to their favorite song, wearing their favorite color, whatever that may be, going to their favorite restaurant, keeping up with their tradition that they may have had, over the holiday. So, um, there you have it, guys. So, those are some practical tips that you can use to help someone who's grieving during the holidays. As always, if you know someone who could use these tips, this advice, please like and share our videos. It's the only way that we can keep these conversations going and we can keep educating on grief and we can keep combating the myths behind grief. So I pray that all of you have a peaceful holiday season. I want all of you to be blessed and have restful sleep on tonight. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Good night.